Welcome back to Flying Tiles. I'm really glad that you're here. Do you want to win more Mahjong hands? Then practice the decisions that win games. Today, I'm playing 4-rack American Mah Jongg Solitaire all the way through to Mahjong with the Charleston, real discards, real pivots, and the kind of skill building that helps you bring home more wins at the table. Real Mahjong, or real American Mahjong skill building, is done through decisions. What do I pass in the Charleston? Which rack has the strongest hand? When do I pivot? What do I discard? Which tiles are risky? Which seat is closest to Mahjong? So the idea is you're not just practicing tile recognition and tile patterns. You're practicing the actual thinking process of the game that will bring home the win. We are going to begin with the Charleston decision-making process. We want to look at our tiles and see where our strength is. Do we have multiples? That's always the first thing I look for. What category is forming? What tiles are dead weight? And what options should I keep open? Remember, think section and category first and your hand later. Although sometimes a hand can be pretty clear in the Charleston. This seat here, which is east, is pretty much a hodgepodge. So I decided to go with the lower numbers, 1 through 5, and I let go of the higher numbers, and I'm going to let go of the wins. So in the south seat, which I'm looking at, I have a pair of 1 cracks, and then I have a pair of 5 cracks, 6 cracks, and 7 cracks. The 1 cracks are really not connected with anything. I don't have anything between the 1 crack and the 5 crack for consecutive run or for the odds number. So my power that I see in this hand is with the 5 crack pair, the 6 crack, and 7 crack. So I'm moving the 1 crack over. I'm going to split that pair up because I really don't have anything to connect with it. So in this west seat, what I'm seeing is, again, it's a bit of a hodgepodge. I have 1 crack, 5 crack, 6 crack. I have a pair of 7 cracks, which is good. I have a pair of 3 dots. I have a 4 dot and a 5 dot. So we're moving in a good direction. It will be interesting to see what the Charleston brings in here. I will be letting go of tiles that don't support that or don't build towards that consecutive run. So I picked a 9 bam and a 1 crack. And the next tile that I pick, I know will be the 6 bam. And why I chose the 6 bam is because the 5 bam and the 7 bam could be used in the consecutive run category. 6 bam, that would be a 3-6-9 category. So I chose to go that way. And then in the north seat, we are looking at, again, I think I have a pair of east up there. So I'm going to see what I can do with that. So we have east, you want to use evens, and I'm looking to see if I have even tiles, either the 2, 4, 6, 8 category where you have the evens, the east and the west, or in the wins category, you have east and west with like numbers. So I believe that I'm choosing the 8. I choose the 8.8 bam, and I think I have an 8 crack there. So I'm looking at the categories of winds and dragons. I'm letting go of a 4 bam and a 3 crack. And then I'll be letting go of the soap. That is the final tile that I do choose to pass in the first right. These tiles to the far right are going to be my right, my first right. So when we do the first right, remember we pass the tiles up. And east goes to south, south goes to west, west goes to north, and then north comes back down to east. So this first hand for east is kind of difficult. I don't sense a direction really. I know that the north and the east, those 2 winds there in the middle end, they don't really go together. I know that I do bring in the 4 bam, so I'll have a 1 bam, 2 bam, 4 bam, and 5 bam. So I'm staying with the lower numbers. I'm going to be moving over the north and the east together. I'll want to split those up and let go of those wins during the Charleston. And let's see, I think I will be picking the 7 dot. So I'm pretty sure that I will be doing here we go, 7 dot and east, which is good because east goes with evens. So I have a 7 dot, an east, and a 3 crack to pass on my first across. As we look at south, the second hand here, I'm taking the 9 crack, which gives me a pair of 9 cracks. Now I have 5 crack, 6 crack, 7 crack. I don't have an 8 crack. So I have a gap in the, if I go for the consecutive run. This is my initial thought on my first across, a 1 crack, a south, and an 8 dot. However, I know I don't do that because I have a 4 bam and a 4 dot, and I don't want to pass the 4s together. So I'm going to separate those two now. So I'm going to be passing the 4 bam, the south, and the 8 dot. Okay, oh great, look at that. I've got a 6 dot, so I've got 3 dot, 4 dot, 5 dot, and 6 dot. That's very nice. So the tiles I'm planning to pass for my across in west will be a 1 crack, a west, and a 5 bam. So that will be my first across. And I'm just looking at my tiles, seeing what I'm building in that hand. So in our north seat, the pass that we received on our first right doesn't change anything. I'm just double checking. I'm just thinking what areas I can move towards with these tiles, and if that pass helps me move in a stronger direction. We're going to be doing our first across, which means that north exchanged with south, and then west exchanged with east, and vice versa. So you'll see that happen here, east and west, north and south. So north and south there, and then west and east. And we'll be seeing if that helps any of the hands. So as we're looking at the east seat there, I've got okay, so I'm going to keep that 5 bam. And I also got a 1 crack, and I got a west. I'm going to be letting go of the wind tiles, as that's just not a direction I'm going in. I don't feel like that's a strong direction. I'm collecting the ones. So I'm just collecting and seeing where this hand takes me. This one is not really clear. It feels like kind of a tough one. So I've got a 2 dot, I've got north, and I've got west. So that'll be my first left. And as we're looking at the south seat here, that pass does not help me at all. I got a 6 bam, a 9 bam, and a 1 crack. So I'm just going to pass those on. I'm not going to be changing anything. All right, we're looking at west. I'm going to be keeping that 7 dot. All right, we've got a nice consecutive run happening there. I'm letting go of the 7 bam, and I believe that's a east and a 3 crack. So this decision on my north hand is interesting. I didn't change anything. As I'm looking at it, I really hadn't decided on a direction. I hadn't gotten any west for my east and west. And as I'm doing my armchair quarterbacking, I really should have kept that 8 dot, because that would have created a pair of 8 dots, and I would have had more strength there in the hand, which is another great reason to record your solitaire sessions. You can take a look back and look at your decision process. I got a 1 crack, and it looks like that 1 crack is strengthening. I have that 1 bam, and I have the 1 dot, and I have a soap. So my direction here is like numbers. I have 2, 4, 5. I have a pair of 5s, 6, and a 9. So I'm counting the tiles, and I have more tiles that go in the direction of the like numbers. So that's why I'm going to choose to let go of this family of BAM tiles. And I'm just picking the least harmful to me, least effective for the next person. So the past for the east seat, I am just going to keep those tiles. I'm not going to be assimilating any. All right, so as we're looking at the west, I'm going to be taking in that 8 dot to strengthen my consecutive run. And then I need to choose something from the crack family, and I will be choosing the 5 crack. The reason why I chose the 5 crack is because there's a hand that goes with 2 suits in the consecutive run. So I can do the 4, 5, 6, 7 2 suits in the consecutive run. So I don't really need that 5 crack. And here I'm going to show you which one I'm looking at on the card. It is 1, 2, 3, 4. I think the fourth line down, where it's pung, pung, kong, kong, 2 suits. And so I can do 4, 5, and then 6, 7, possibly. So even within a category, I pivot around. So I keep my options open within a category too. So I'm going to be keeping that wind tile, which was a west, and I'm letting go of the north tile. And I will be choosing tiles that will be least effective for a pass for somebody else. I'm certain that I'm going to be keeping the 8, so I'm going to be doing the wind tiles like numbers. I'm going to have to also start letting go of the flowers, but I'm not going to do that until we move into the game. I don't want to pass flowers. This is our second left, and sometimes the tiles just get a little awkward. So let's see what we have here in our east seat. So I have a 7 bam, I have an east, and a 3 crack. So I will be passing those along in the next pass. In the south seat, I am going to be keeping that 5 crack. So I will have multiple 5 cracks there. I'm passing the 1 crack, 4 bam, and the south. And then up in the west hand, I believe I am just going to pass those tiles along, no change. And I will be passing the north tiles along as well, no change there. So I'm doing the second across, and we are going north to south, east to west. And let's put these up and see if they help anything. In the east seat, it looks like I have a 2 bam, 4 crack, and I believe that's a north, and I will be passing those along. And then in the south, I have 5 bam, 9 bam, and a 2 bam, I believe. And let's see what I think I'm just looking and seeing, assessing what would be the best pass. And I believe I settle on that 9 bam, 2 bam, 5 bam. And looking up there. Okay, so the other 2 I am not taking in. I am passing those all along. We are on our last right here, and on the last right, a player has the option to do a blind pass where you can pass 0, 1, 2, or 3. And all these hands will be passing the full amount allowed, 3 tiles. So as we're looking at east here, I got a 1 crack. And so I have 4. I have a Kong of 1 cracks. I have a 1 dot, a 1 bam. I have a flower, and I have a dragon. So I am definitely going to be looking at the like categories for the east as we start gameplay after our optional across. So for the south seat, I do end up keeping that 4 crack and passing the north and the 2 bam. And there I go, putting that into the hand. So I have a consecutive run happening there. I just don't have any 8 cracks. I do have a pair of 9 cracks. I'm going through my hands and choosing what I want to do for my optional. And so doing the north, I have another wind, which is great. And I'm going to be moving the flowers over because I'm going to be letting go of those pretty quickly. So in the optional, north and south are going to be exchanging 3 tiles, but then east and west will only be exchanging 2 tiles because the seat of east only wants to exchange 2 tiles. If I didn't choose to add another tile because the 4 bam, 5 bam, and 6 bam could help somebody with that 4 bam. So that was my reasoning with that, to only go with 2 tiles. I didn't want to pass 2 4 bams and then 4 bam, 5 bam are too close, and 4 bam, 6 bam, I just didn't want to pass together. So this is our final play for the Charleston, and I'm setting up the discards on the far right hand side so that I can keep the flow of the game moving pretty quickly. I'll be going through each seat, the east, south, west, and north, and letting you know where I'm headed. So on the east seat here, I'm really looking at like numbers. I have no gaps in here if I choose to do the third hand down, which I'm going to be bringing in. So I'll be showing you here the like number category, and I will most likely be doing the second hand or the third hand. So I don't have any gaps in the third hand, but I do have some gaps in that second hand there. I would need 2 more dragons. Up here, I'm going to be looking at, this is the south seat. I'm going to be looking at consecutive numbers, 1 suit. I have a gap there. I have no 8 cracks. So I'm just putting my joker in there. So I have 4 cracks, 5 cracks, 6 cracks, 7 cracks. And then up here again, I'm doing consecutive run. That is a very strong consecutive run. I've got multiples. And then up in the north seat, I am looking at the winds and dragons section with the east and the west. And then the like numbers will be 8. And I will be letting go of those flowers on the first discards. We are now into the game. So east will discard the first tile, and I will be picking the 2 bam, 2 bam. And now south will be picking. I got a 3 dot. So be sure to note how I drop that pick tile into the slope part of the rack, and then the tile I choose to discard is another tile. That is a good habit to get into, just because that way I personally and other people, you don't miss a joker exchange if you don't see it right away. And it's also a rule that I give myself when I'm playing solitaire, is picking another tile to discard, so that I don't cheat myself. I would just be cheating myself if I knew that another hand needed that picked tile for a Mahjong. I'm forcing myself to discard another tile intentionally. I hope that makes sense. Of course, if I don't have another tile to discard, I will discard that tile. And the other rule, if you will, is to discard tiles that I know that are in high demand, such as the flowers, maybe a dragon like the soap dragon. I want to discard these tiles as soon as I know that I don't need them. I don't want to discard a flower at the end of the game, if at all possible. Sometimes I will if a lot of flowers have been put out and I'm certain that nobody else is looking for a flower tile. So it's really assessing what's going on, and letting go of the tiles as soon as possible that are in high demand. So that's why you'll usually see winds out first, flowers out first, 2s, 5s, and 6s if a player knows that they're not going to need them. The 5s and 6s, that's kind of hard because those tiles are right in the middle. All right, I'm going to speed things up a little bit and slow down when we get to something interesting here. So I pulled a red dragon, and I'm thinking a possibility could be consecutive runs with the like dragons. The only thing is I don't have any flowers, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to get any. That's kind of a long shot. That's one thing I look for pivots, is any dragon hands that I could possibly bring in. So my north is discarding a 1 dot, which wakes up the east position. So what do I want to do? I need to make a decision here. This is where I need to decide. At this point, I need to pick a hand. So I'm looking at the card. This is kind of a tough decision. Do I want to claim that 1 dot so that I get that pung of 1 dots? Or do I want to leave myself open, which would still leave me open to toggling between those hands? So what would you do? Would you claim that 1 dot and commit to the middle hand if you have a pung? And I don't. I did not do that because I wanted to keep my options open. I know there's another one dot out there somewhere. Nobody else claimed that one dot. I can also create that pung of one dots with a joker. I can also use those pair of one dots for my pair in the last hand. Okay, so this is the hand I'm going for with the north seat. I'm going for that pung of east, kong of like numbers, kong in another suit of the like numbers, and then the pung of west. If you have any questions or something seems confusing or anything, please leave your comments down in the comment section and I will respond as soon as possible. So what we have coming up here is creating joker bait. And this is from Tom Sloper. I learned it through Michelle Frizzell. Joker bait is when you have a pair of tiles that you don't need for your hand, such as those 3 BAMs down there. What you use that for when you move through the wall, I think when you probably have about 40 tiles left or so, maybe 60 tiles, a player will discard one of those multiple tiles, hoping that somebody will claim it for a pung, kong, or quint, and then have a joker up with the pung, kong, or quint, and then on the player's next turn, they'll be able to claim that joker with that same tile. And that's called joker bait. Let me know if you need further clarification on joker bait, and I am more than happy to do that for you. Oh, okay, look at that. So South is discarding a one dot. Now I really want to make a decision. That is the last one dot out, and I need to decide which hand I want to do in the like numbers. Which hand would you choose? Would you choose the second hand or the third hand? So with the second hand, you just need one of each dragon and no flowers. And you need a kong and a, let's see, there we go. So you need a kong and then light dragon, a pung and a light dragon, and then a kong and a light dragon there. In the last hand there, you need a pair. You need 3 pairs in that last one. So that's a little tougher, I think. And even though it's only worth 25 points, that's interesting. Okay, so which way do you think I go? I claim it, and I am going to do, ta-da, I am doing the pung, which means I am going to do the middle hand, the second hand down. So I'm going to need to let go of that flower at some point, and hope that I get, so I just need a red dragon, and I also need either jokers or the 1 BAMs. So I have all the 1 cracks. Now, with the 1 BAMs, I can also use jokers. So I'm not at the mercy of a single or a pair. That is why I went that way, because it was higher likelihood that I could make that hand versus having to make the pairs. So even though I did have I could have done the 1 dot in pairs, that wouldn't have been an issue. So let's see how this hand opens up. Still not really developing that well. And we are looking at the north hand. Okay, I'm going to start letting go of those soaps, it looks like. And got a flower. I need to start letting go of those flowers. Now, this is where it can be dangerous. Because I need to let go of those flowers. I have committed myself with that pung of 1 dots. That's what I'm pointing to that second hand. I can't pivot out of that hand. So I have to okay. So that that south got my 1 BAM. But as I'm looking back on this video, I really should have claimed that 1 BAM, because I could have put up my kong of 1 BAMs with the 2 jokers. And yes, somebody could have taken the 2 jokers. I would have discarded my flower and I would just be waiting on a red dragon. So I just hope that I can make up for that mistake. It's funny, as I'm making this video, I'm noticing how my skills are getting sharpened because I'm forced to slow down and analyze. So for that second hand up there, the south seat, I'm still pondering a light dragon hand for that. I need a pung of flowers and then pair, pung, kong. So I have my 2 pairs. I have a pair of cracks and a pair of 5 cracks, which is great. So I'm leaning in that way. Since flexibility is higher, I have my pairs. So moving up to the west seat, I am still staying in the consecutive run category and gathering tiles as they come in. I haven't committed to a particular hand yet. I let go of that 8 dot because I wanted to keep my option open for the 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 suits, the pung pung kong kong. Sweet. I got an 8 crack for my north seat. So I have a pair of 8 cracks. I have a pair of 8 bams. So those are going to be my 2 suits for my like numbers. I can let go of that 8 dot. And just moving my discards over. So this is a great pick from the wall. I got my red dragon. Whoop, whoop. I'm moving towards Mahjong and letting go of that flower. I'm on a 2 tile wait, which means I either need a 1 bam or I need a joker. Either tile will get me Mahjong. I've got my singles in place, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. We had a few picks and discards, nothing interesting until we get to this point at the south seat. I made a decision to move away from the dragon hand in consecutive runs. I'm not getting any dragons. I got a joker, so I'm moving towards the pung, pung, kong, kong, same suit in consecutive run for that south seat. Now I got a red dragon here in the west seat, and I have a pair of 6 cracks, pair of 7 cracks, a pair of 8 cracks. I have a flower and I have a red dragon. So eventually I actually don't go with that dragon hand in consecutive run. I end up going with the consecutive run. It's the 7th hand down where it's a pair of flowers, kong, 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 same suit, consecutive run, which actually was a bit of a risky decision because I need to get a pair of flowers. If I had stayed with the dragon hand, I needed a pung of flowers and the kong of the red dragons, which I could have used jokers in all of those plus the face tiles. So again, another great example of filming your solitaire games, and you can do some armchair quarterbacking on that. I may have been going too fast and too distracted on the other hands. I know that going too fast is one of my growing edges where I actually do need to slow down as I speed up the video. So, all right, so I've got a 1 bam there in my north seat, and I follow my rule where I don't discard it. So I discard another tile because I have another tile to discard, which is what I would usually do in real gameplay. So that's all I need to Mahjong for that east seat is a 1 bam. As our turn comes around to north again, my pick from the wall, I don't need it, and I would discard that 1 bam. There are several hands that use a pung of 1 dots besides any like numbers. It could have easily been in the consecutive run or even the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 category, but North gave East their Mahjong. Whoop, whoop. Well, at least that's what happens in my head when I get Mahjong. A lot of cheering. I love it. There really is nothing better than a Mahjong dopamine hit. American Mah Jongg is always a blend of skill and luck. We cannot control which tiles come over that wall, which tiles are passed to us, or when Lady Luck decides to pull up a chair next to us. But we can control how prepared we are. Practicing 4-rack solitaire Mahjong helps build the skills that actually matter at the table. Reading the card, making better Charleston decisions, spotting patterns, pivoting when a hand changes directions, and thinking strategically from the beginning of the game to the end of a game. Will it guarantee you more wins? No, because luck still gets a vote, but it will make you a stronger, sharper, more confident player, and over time, stronger decisions give you a better chance of bringing home more Mahjongs. As for the secret to getting Lady Luck on my side more often, I have not found that one yet, but when I do, you will be the very first to know. Wow, making it this far in the video tells me that you are a serious player. You are one player that truly wants to up their skill set. I really do hope that this was helpful for you. Any questions? Drop them in the comments. Thank you so much for stopping by. I so do appreciate it. I really do. I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.